Hello, everybody. I'm Lauren Cohen, the host of Investing Across Borders, where we teach you how to invest, live, work, and play across borders. And I am also an international legal and real estate investment expert. And I'm here with my really good friend, truly good friend, who's been here with me almost every step of the way. Since my son just turned 11 the other day, she was at his bris. She was, right, she's shaking her head. Her sister has, three grandchildren that are the most amazing little boys as well. So she's watching everybody grow up. We all are. And Trish Carr has been my coach, my speaking coach, my friend, my partner in so many levels for 12 years now, is it? About 13 maybe? Since
Probably
before
13.
Zebby.
13, I would think.
Since WPN Women's Prosperity Network was founded by Trish and her two sisters, Susan and Nancy. And Trish, why don't you give us a brief intro? I could go on all day about how amazing you are, but just share a little bit.
I could do the same for you because when we first met, my sisters and I, Susan Winter and Nancy Matthews, we had this idea, and this was back in 2008. And if you remember 2008, we were at the beginning of a long recession.
Yep.
A long recession. Luckily, it wasn't as long as it could have been. But in 2008, we were at the beginning of the recession and people were losing jobs and investments were going in.
Sound familiar? Sounds kind of like COVID, right?
Exactly. Same thing happened in 2020 where everything went south. But here's the thing is that we knew that we had something that would make a difference for female entrepreneurs in particular. And because so many people at that point were losing their jobs, it was about time that they learned to take their skills, their talents, and the things that they're gifted at and turn it into their income and their business and
including
their impact,
you.
Including me.
You used to work at AT&T, right?
Yes, I worked at AT&T until the mid 90s, late 90s, and then started the entrepreneurial journey. So we wanted to create a place where women could step into their power in a big way, and not just in terms of their mental, obviously, and their mindset, but really equip them with the skills so that they could take their talents and make their talents their business. So you were instrumental in helping us to create that, which is how we know each other so long. I don't even remember how we met, Lauren, but I know it was a gift from heaven because
thank you both
ways. We needed someone who had your expertise, someone with your background who could look at things from an outside perspective with your legal skills and with all you knew. So you've been instrumental in supporting Women's Prosperity Network and becoming the premier community for women now worldwide. I mean, can you believe it? Worldwide. We started in South Florida, and now we have people in Australia and South Africa and Canada. It's just amazing. And I love what you're up to in particular, because one of the things that people would ask us was, why don't you just want to stay in your own little area? Why don't you just do Florida? Or why don't you just stay on the East Coast? Why do you want to expand? And I'm like, because there's opportunity for everyone. And I wanted to have a bigger impact. I wanted to make a bigger difference. And that was always the plan. Yeah. You know, we got it. We got the right team around us, you included, and the right mentors, because nobody can do it by themselves, right?
And if even coaches need coaches.
And if there's a coach who doesn't have a coach, I'm not hiring them.
Exactly. No, thank you.
Yeah. So it's so important. And that's, I love what you're up to now in expanding the world for people to be able to live their dreams and invest with trust. It's so important, is having that trust, right?
Yeah. Well, there's just far too many people that do it haphazardly. Oh, look at that. We both, mine is the paper cup.
Oh, that's great.
Look at that. I think we're going to call Starbucks and get some money for promoting them.
We should.
So it's really, at the end of the day, it's about having that impact-driven philosophy and aligning yourself with like-minded people to achieve your dreams. And too many people are looking for the best deal or the best price, or they see a $10,000 or $20,000 investment property. Oh, let me do it. But they don't set up the right structure, and they miss the little nuances, and they just see it's when something is too good to be true, it's too good to be true. And if you don't take the right steps and take the right precautions, you'll end up paying the price somewhere, whether it's legal implications, tax implications, personal implications, whatever the case may be. And part of that is definitely having the right team in place. And knowing that you can have that trust and that trusted advisor. And, from the beginning, when I first said, okay, I want to speak, and I called up my friend Trish, and I said, Trish, what do I do? And I remember sitting down when Zevi was like a little baby in my living room in my other house,
right,
sitting there, and Trish was like, these are the steps you take. And my dad's best friend, Oliver Shalom, Harvey Atkin, was the top voiceover actor in Canada.
right.
And he helped me on the other side with the oration and some of the marketing pieces. And Trish helped me with putting the structure together. And if not for those two lovely, amazing people, one of whom I miss dearly every day, and the other of whom I see almost every day, thank God, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I wouldn't be able to speak to crowds, whether it be on Zoom or live in person, because the ums would get in the way. And now when I speak, they don't get in the way. And I know how to overcome them. And I know how to deliver a message. And that doesn't come from just inside. Some people are natural speakers. I think I probably had that gift, but you have to finesse it. It's like anything. It's like investing. You can have a gift for finding the perfect investment, but if you don't have a gift for setting up the structure, you need that legal team in place. And that's what we bring to bear. And the beauty of Women's Prosperity Network, for example, is that Women's Prosperity Network has somebody that's in almost every area of every professional area, every business area. We have some amazing attorneys. We have amazing holistic healers. We have speaking coaches. We have author coaches. We have, you name it. We have
specialists and
right.
photographers and automation specialists. We have everything from the types of businesses you would need if you were in business to the types of businesses for regular humans, for regular people, right. Parenting specialists and things like that. So it's an amazing
Can't function
community.
without a parenting specialist, just saying.
No, believe me. I made the choice not to have any because I saw how challenging it was. Yes, I know. And I don't know how women do it, especially on their own. So many people are single, men and women they're single, and it's a tough thing. Even with two people, I don't know how they do it. You mentioned my great nephews. So my nephew, Zach, has 3 kids, 6, 8, and 16.
Oh my God, it's already 16. Amazing.
The 6-year-old and 8-year-old, they never stop. They're
like my pup. They do. It's true.
How do you keep up with that? So all that to say that he's got responsibilities, and he's a single dad, and he is 36 years old. And now is the time to be looking at, where am I going? How am I going to take care of my family? How am I going to make sure that I have the money, the means to live the life I want to live and give my kids a good life too?
And so what's the best way to do that, Nancy? Look at that.
What's the best way to do that, Trish? The best way to do that is to come up with your game plan. And for me, I like to it doesn't take a lot. You can start saving and investing with a very little amount of money. It's a matter of being a little disciplined about it. Every month, just putting some money in the bucket for investing. And when you have $500, you can invest.
Yep.
There are so many ways, especially with what you do, where people can come together and do investments together. And I'm a big fan of diversification. So I have some stocks, I have some mutual funds, I have some crypto, I have all of that, and property, because, right now, and I don't know, Lauren, if this is true outside the US, but here in the US, prices are crazy. So buying and selling right now is a challenge. So I'd imagine that right now is the perfect time to invest across borders, right?
Yeah. So a lot of people ask me that question because the market is so hot. Here in South Florida, you can be there. We just put an offer in on a property for somebody the other day. There were 80 offers because it was a
Yeah.
single family home priced under 500,000. You in
Oh,
Toronto would never hear of this. You don't even know of a door for under 500,000. This was a tiny little single family home with 80 offers. Needless to say, our client couldn't come in high enough, and that's fine. We move on to the next, but you move on, move on, move on. That does not mean that there are not opportunities in the market. And people are hesitant because the market is so hot, but actually there are opportunities abounding through this. And people that are not paying their mortgage, that are going to be in potential short sale foreclosure,
yeah.
different types of challenged and distressed assets that open doors. And if you work with the right team of realtors and real estate professionals, being a lawyer and a realtor is kind of a really nice combination, because I can
Yeah.
look at the legal side and the real estate opportunity together. And having invested in as much real estate as you have, I think you could agree that there's no perfect time other than the perfect time for you.
And really the perfect time is always now, because like
Now,
you said, even though, and it's outside of South Florida. I was traveling the last month, and it's happening everywhere, Las Vegas, Colorado. I mean, but here's the thing, more millionaires are born in bad times, quote unquote bad times, than in good times. And there's always an opportunity. There's always somebody who needs your help. And that's the way I look at it. There are people who are right now, they're not paying their mortgages. They don't have to. They have, how many landlords, think about this. There's been a moratorium on paying your rent.
yep.
And I think it's still in place, right?
In some places, yes.
So imagine these poor landlords who haven't been able to pay their mortgages. At some point, the bank is going to say, okay, this is what you owe, let's get it straight. And they're not going to be able to handle it. So that poor landlord is really, up a creek without a paddle, whatever the terminology would be. And you being able to invest in that property and take it off their hands and get them out of a really uncomfortable situation makes you have impact.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I love investing in distressed properties.
Yep.
People who, mom and dad passed away and they left this house and it's a mess because mom and dad, they decorated it in 1975 and it still looks like 1975.
Or they're hoarders.
Or they're hoarders. Oh, yes. Yes. Whatever it is, there's always an opportunity for you to go in and make an impact for that family, for that person, for those people. By you, it's a win-win situation. You
Right.
take that property off their hands,
Mhm.
that headache off their hands, and then you grow your wealth
Right.
and you
So it's
take
not
care
like
of your
you're
family.
it's not like you're taking advantage in a way. I guess you could see it as that, but you're also opening a door and giving them an out. And it's funny because, as you know, Carolyn Ricciardi, she just changed her name to Gallardo. She stayed at
Oh,
my house last night in South Florida. She was in town from Calgary for an event. And Carolyn teaches people how to invest in real estate without qualifying for a mortgage. Basically, in Canada, it's called assignment of sale. And in the US, it's called what, Trish? Subject to, right?
yes.
Subject to is going to be huge here, because that basically means you are taking that property and helping the client avoid foreclosure, which is an amazing thing. So you take the
Right.
property subject to that mortgage that's already on title, and you open a door, you get the property for dirt cheap, and you're giving the client or the owner, the current owner, an out. So it's a win-win all around.
Yes.
And it's just a really, people are like, oh, well, I feel bad. And it's not that. It's an opportunity. And it is an opportunity to also grow your wealth. And real estate is always going to be the number one way to grow your wealth, because it's always going to have sustenance and have the upward mobility
Yep.
and the uphill opportunity, both in terms of cash flow, ongoing cash flow, and in terms of your upside when you sell.
Well, what do you say to people who are concerned, because here we are again in what's being called a bubble, and the bubble's going to break, right? So the prices go up, up, up. Like the price of my house right now is ridiculously stupid.
Yeah.
You know,
Ridiculous.
like why would anyone want to spend that much money?
And they
on my
will.
house?
If you put it
I
on
don't
the
know.
market, it'll be sold tomorrow.
It would be sold tomorrow. And, you know, there's that concern of the bubble. So in 2008, we had a bubble.
Mhm.
And the prices were up here. I'll never forget, I bought a house not far from you, as a matter of fact. It was Coral Springs area, and I bought a house. And when I bought it, it was a home run. It had $100,000 worth of equity, but it needed some work. So I had to carry it for about 3.5 months. In the time that I carried it, the bubble burst. And I ended up walking away with $15,000 instead of $100,000. And it was hard to squeak out the 15. But here's the good news. I didn't lose money.
Right.
I still made money. $15,000 for 3 months work. Some people would say $5,000 a month is pretty nice to add to your income every month. So even my worst buy was a good buy.
Right.
Right. And that was at the height of the bubble. I bought it, and boom, the bubble burst, and then it went down. So even in a bubble situation, there's always opportunity. But here's the thing, you don't know it, you don't see it, you can't see it because you have this thing in your brain called your reticular activation system. And you know how when you buy a red car for the first time, you get in the car and all of a sudden you're like, wow, look at all the red cars, because your filter kept you from seeing them. But now that there was significance, now you can see it. It's the same thing with investing. If you don't have the right person pointing out and opening your eyes to what's available, you'll never see anything but what the news tells you. And the news is about keeping you engaged in doom and gloom. That's what they're there for. Right?
So true. Yeah, 100%. So Trish, let's talk a little bit about what you do in your specialty, which is teaching people how to speak in front of.
Yeah, I like to say influential communication, whether that's from the stage or whether it's a one-on-one conversation or whether it's on Zoom or to a group of people, even doing a presentation to a prospective client. You want to be able to speak with influence. And when you were saying, that you put those two skills together with the two mentors that you worked with, many people are quote unquote naturally good at shooting the bull, if you will, because you have to have a level of comfort and confidence. But it's more than just that. It is actually having a choreography that moves people from why would I want to work with you to, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to work with you. And when you speak to groups, I mean, it happens all the time. I had a client who she would speak for free. She's the love twins at Heart's Desire International. Their job is to find you the person of your dreams, right? Even if that person, you wake up next to them every day and they were the person of your dreams, but they're not anymore. So that's what they do. And Gladys was speaking to groups, but she wasn't getting clients from it. She would get off the stage, right? You can feel that. Yeah. She would get off the stage and everybody say, oh, Gladys, that was so great. You were so good. I so enjoyed it. But nobody said, here's my credit card. I want you to help me. Mm-hmm. And just working with her just for a brief time, we actually came up with new programs for her, new packaging, new pricing, new everything, gave her the skills and worked on her presentation. And within 30 days, actually within 3 days, she made $10,000. Within 30 days, she was at like 25,000. And that was about 3 years ago. That particular program and her going on stages, she's earned for her company over $250,000 just from that package. And when I spoke to her about it a couple of weeks ago, she said, it's really more than that. It's probably twice that, because that's my introductory package. All the people who came in and loved me from the thing that we did together, now they're buying something else. So it's not enough for you to be really good at speaking. You've got to be really good at influencing. And I don't mean manipulating. Let me be perfectly clear. There's manipulation, which is a lose-lose situation for everybody, where I get what I want and you don't get anything that's worthwhile. And then there's persuasion, which is me showing you what's available that you don't see. And Lauren, that's really where you come in, is what's available that I can't even see. I have rose-colored glasses on and I can only see through the pink.
Yeah.
Whereas you're going to show me how to see through the yellow and the green and the red and find everything that I never could see without you before. And that's what
So
somebody who has
a
influence
quick
can
exercise.
do. Okay.
So I have a webinar in an hour.
Okay.
And a lot of the people that attend this particular webinar are very interested in creating a cross-border investment strategy and potentially getting a visa, but are not as anxious, are hesitant, okay, especially Canadians, to take action. Because Canadians hesitate, they think about things and they ponder things and they just don't take action, or they overthink things. They're very cautious, and the drill. I'm one of them, but I'm not a typical Canadian because I take action. I've always been an action taker for sure.
Yes.
So how do we convert those people that are not instinctive action takers, that are thinking, oh, it's a big move, I have to, especially if they're thinking about getting a visa and moving here, oh, I have to do this, I have to invest all my money, I have to move my family. What are some of the influential words or actions that you would suggest to get them to move from inaction to action?
That's a really good question. And I know that for me, stories about people who've had success make a difference for people.
Yeah.
When you can share what someone else was feeling, like, I wanted to think about it, I wasn't sure, and what that might have cost them in the so they eventually did it. And then how many times do they say to yourself, I'm kicking myself because I could have had $10,000 more, or I'm kicking myself because I could have had 3 properties in my portfolio. So showing them that. And then the other thing is helping people to see their dreams realized. And that happens with you asking them, what's one thing in your life that you want? What's one thing in your life? I often start talks with, imagine you won $10 million in the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do in your first year? What are you going to do? You pay off all your houses, you pay off all the houses of your friends and your family. And then what? And what happens is people realize that when they build their wealth, they can do all of those things, and they can do them quickly. So, I have a friend who does life insurance, and he said, I used to start talks. I would talk about, what's your life going to be like if your spouse dies, right? And you don't have any money. He said, and when I changed them from thinking about what's going to happen a year from now to what's life going to be like tomorrow, it moved people more quickly. So if you talk in the long term, oh, a year from now you'll have this. No, we're a microwave society. We want right now. So help me to see what can happen to me tomorrow. What's my tomorrow going to look like? And my tomorrow, when I make a decision that I'm going to go on the path of building my wealth, it's not something I have to think about to do a year. I'm going to do it now, because as soon as I do it, I'm setting in motion all of the angels and all of the people who are going to come to me. So I get it. It's challenging to get people to make a decision. But if you can help them to focus on what do they want,
Mm-hmm.
and how long is it going to take you to get that in your current circumstance, as opposed to what do you want? And when we start working on it tomorrow, and you can have it in a much shorter amount of time, people react. So telling stories, because stories are like data with soul. right? You can give people all the data in the world, but when you can tell them a story that they can relate to, that touches their heart, that they can understand and see the person and the impact that the situation had, those stories go a long way. And a lot of people stay in the data, this is the percentage, you got to give people that too, but you've also got to touch their hearts.
Right. You've got to, exactly. I think that that's so true, is you've got to get under the skin at what it is that's driving them. I mean, right. I told you at the beginning before we started recording that I had a client that came into the country several months ago. We did a change of status for them. It was on an RFE, which is a request for evidence. This client has been losing their mind because their kids are here, they're playing hockey, and they needed this visa in place so that the kids could stay playing hockey. Okay. And we did an premium processing, and it was on this request for evidence, meaning basically an appeal. And the clients were freaking out because their timeline had expired, but we had it in on time. And this morning we got word that it was approved, and the client is like jumping for joy. I'm jumping for joy because now the clients can rest easy. They don't have to be as panicked or as worried about everything. They know that their kids are safe and they have some security in their lives. And they bought a wonderful business, and they're going to be extremely successful. And they invested in this business without the visa. And, wow. So they were willing to take that risk. Now, not everybody is, and we can work around that. But the fact of the matter is that it gives me such a sense of peace. Remember that my old tagline that your sister and I came up with, peace of mind for your business. Mm-hmm. And it gives me such a sense of peace to be able to bring that peace to my clients.
And as soon as as soon as people make the decision, their lives change right there. It doesn't happen when the money's in the bank. It happens when they make the decision to do something different. Mm-hmm. The old thing, I think it was Einstein who said, it's insanity to keep doing the same thing and expecting
over and over.
Results.
Right.
And that's what we as people, I don't even think it's just Canadians. I think people are naturally risk averse, right?
Yeah.
We fight or flight. So many of us flight when it comes to those scary times. But that's why you've got to have trusted people in your corner. You've got to have somebody that who has your best interest at heart. Again, someone who has a win-win rather than a win-lose. Somebody who has your best interest at heart, giving you good advice and helping to push you out of your comfort zone. Because nothing really good ever happens in your comfort zone. No. If you want to stay in your comfort zone, you can count on your life looking exactly the same every single day. If you want something different, it requires a step. And all you have to do is take one step. But the good news is you have somebody to hold your hand while you do it.
Yeah.
And that's key. When you do it on your own, I guarantee you it's going to get screwed up. It always does.
It does, 100%. Just like when you try to run a business without any proper guidance and a coach and whatever. Right. I remember every single time I've ever been interviewed, I've always talked about what are the most important elements of success in your business, working with a coach. And
well, I agree.
It's just a really, just like with speaking. I could speak in front of an audience. That was never an issue. I'm a lawyer, it was always easy and natural for me. Maybe I got goosebumps, a little jittery or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, Trish, because I spoke live for the first time in 2 years, a month and a half ago, and I got jitters. And I was like, whoa, because it was, I'm not used to it anymore, but it was fine. It worked out fine. But you do have to get out of your comfort zone, but you have to also realize that you're not an expert at everything. You're not an expert at investing, maybe. You're not an expert at speaking. You're not an expert at running a business across borders, okay? Because it's different. So we need to bring in the team that knows what they're doing. And you need to listen to their guidance. It doesn't mean you have to go like, yes, dear, yes, dear, yes, dear. But you have to listen and question. And I wanted to add something else. Trish has a little bit of a built-in bonus when she buys real estate because her partner, Dan, happens to be able to fix like anything in your whole
Right.
house. Okay.
That's the
I had
truth.
a tile in my kitchen that I dropped a bottle over Passover. We were moving the food or bottles out of the kitchen and the bottle dropped and broke the tile. I was like, oh my God, like 3 tiles. Dan came, there was more dust than I've ever seen in my entire life, but Dan came and fixed it. He saved the day. I didn't have to get a whole new floor, but so align yourself with the right people. It doesn't mean you have to partner, like marry with them or live with them,
Right.
but
You don't have to be
definitely
married
need
to a
have trusted
handyman.
people. It makes a huge difference when you don't have to give a call. Hello, can you come and do blah, 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 right?
Well, and the other thing is how many, when you work with a team and you work with the right people, you accelerate your success. There's no question. You can do it on your own. It's just going to take a lot longer because a smart person makes a mistake. And if they're smart, they learn from it and they don't make it again. A wise person finds a smart person who's already made the mistake, so they avoid it altogether. And if you just remember that, you will move forward in your life more quickly. You don't know everything. You never will know everything. There are people who do, and there are people you can trust. So it's about relationships. It's always about relationships. And, we got to know each other, we hung out together, and then we started working together. Like I saw you in action. I knew what you were capable of. I learned from you the first time we spoke. When you opened your mouth and that expertise came out, I was like, this is someone who knows her stuff. And then next, is this someone who knows her stuff and would have my best interest at heart? And there's no question that that was the case. So it's about creating those relationships. So if you're watching this, and you're thinking, I would like to expand, I can do something different, I can take care of my family, I can have the wealth, whatever that is. I'm not saying you want to be rich. I'd like to be rich because I don't ever, how Forrest Gump's, when he found out he had, Forrest, you're rich. Well, that's one less thing to worry about then, right? It's one less thing to worry about. So I love what you're up to and the difference that you're making. Look at what you did for that family. They jumped in without the visa, but they got it because you're a dog with a bone, my friend, and you don't give up.
Every day.
Yeah, She doesn't give up.
Nope. There's no
son.
There's
Mom,
nothing that I won't do to make sure my clients achieve their goals 100% of the time. And Trish is the same way. And she's always there and always generous. And listen, everybody, please reach out to Trish if you need to learn about how to collaborate with other people, especially women, or learn how to speak from a stage or a Zoom call or whatever, and create a message that is tantalizing and influential and will achieve the goal that you're trying to achieve for your clients. Trish, how do people reach you, please?
You can reach me at Trish, Trish, at Trish Carr, CARR.com. You can get me there directly. And I urge you to go to womensprosperitynetwork.com. That's women's with an E and a plural. And at womensprosperitynetwork.com, dip your toe in. We offer free membership. Find out what we're about. We are a premier community of amazing people, and you'll meet people from your own area as well as throughout the US and around the world. So it is about relationships, and the more people who know you, the better off you are. So check it out, womensprosperitynetwork.com. Thank you, Lauren Cohen. I so appreciate you.
Don't keep your message a secret. Work with Trish. I'm Lauren Cohen. I wanted to thank Lendai, my sponsor of this amazing podcast that helps us to deliver amazing financing options for foreign investors investing in the US from various countries. And it's my pleasure to be aligned with them and be able to deliver those financing options to my clients. I'm Lauren Cohen, international legal and real estate investment expert, signing off for today from Investing Across Borders, the podcast where we teach you how to invest, live, work, and play across borders. Please connect with me and do subscribe to the podcast. Thank you so much, Trish, for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.